Hi Aquarius, it's Romy. Welcome to my channel. If you have an Aquarius sun, rising or moon, then this January 2021 soul story might resonate for you. It is general, and I'd encourage you to check back throughout the month and just see how the energies unfold. And happy solar returns for those of you with January birthdays. So let's see what we are opening up your reading with. The energy of the Empress. Beautiful. For me, linking into Aquarian energy for January is this idea of expanding and exploring and kind of feeling your way into things. You know, to a certain extent, your name is in lights at the moment. You know, there's so much focus on what Aquarius has to teach us and how we're going to be guided by the influence of Aquarius through the course of 2021. And I think for you, there's this real need to release the resentment, to release the resistance that perhaps you've carried in different areas of your life, so that you can step up and step into this really beautiful, empowered energy and start to really understand what this new frequency is trying to teach you. It would be very easy through the course of January to feel that there is a tremendous information overload. And one of the things that came through as I was linking into your energy was this statement, if you like, that said, what do I now do with this? What do I do with this? So that's, you know, coming in and translating by way of perhaps hearing news or feeling something very different or witnessing or observing something, and having to stop and really question within yourself, like what course of action or what decision or conclusion or what you might want to say or not say. And so just be aware of this theme sort of like emerging through January, okay? The other thing that I picked up that was really relevant was about this need for how you're going to self-regulate, you know. Uranus, which is really bringing in a powerful influence through the month of January. Of course, it's your ruling planet, but we're also going to be seeing it moving direct on the 14th of the month. Now, whenever planets move station direct or retrograde, there is always a little bit of upheaval energy that comes in with that. But we also have this really powerful, potent square between Jupiter and Uranus happening on the 17th, just after we come into the sun in your sign. And with that, there's this sort of restlessness, this anxiety, and this kind of aspect to the nervous system getting really heightened, and with the potential to feel very overwhelmed by very controversial, very surprising, shocking information, revelations. Now, some of that can be really good. It can be good overwhelm. It can be, you know, the flow of abundance, the absolute progression of something just miraculous and brilliant. But it can also come in by way of people making very extravagant, extreme decisions and choices that have a ripple effect. And because you are going to be feeling in, to a certain extent, the overwhelming sort of burden of the collective of sort of what's happening right now, just because of all of this focus and emphasis on Aquarian energy, it's just important that you have that sense of empowered energy and that you're holding space, you know. And I feel you in a really strong position to be able to do that. And I feel you very generous with your wisdom, with your ability to soothe, to heal, to nurture, because you do have the understanding about the cycle and the shift with which we are moving into and what we are going through. But at the same time, we also have to remember that you're, you know, just entering into your own Saturn returns, Jupiter's in your sign, and you're kind of still recalibrating and coming to terms with what that means to you. And so there's going to be important themes that are emerging in January that are going to be demonstrating, you know, what you're about to be learning or going through in your own soul journey. And you do need to take time to kind of figure out what that means without going saving and, you know, trying to overgive or do too much, so that you end up really overloaded or drained. Now, Queen of Pentacles, beautiful. You're coming through as like really grounded, which I actually, I feel inspired for you. There is this sense of you being able to deal and to act really wisely by way of resources as well. So if you're finding yourself in a situation where you have to move, shift, change things, make things work in a new way, a different way, having to you know, look at financial situations or even look at the way that things are shared or given out, I see you being able to make the right choices to kind of bring about the best balance. And that's coming from a really strong, empowered, loving place. Now, there's a huge aspect of fertility around the energies of both the Empress and the Queen of Pentacles coming through for you, which means that you are also preparing and readying yourself to bring something new into fruition, okay? And it may be for some of you something that you've worked on for a little while, or something that's in the background, and there may even be this sense of change or shift that's coming in relation to yourself as you step into your solar returns and you want to bring out and express energy in a different way. But what we're being shown here is that there's richly creative energy and the opportunity for you to be really resourceful by way of bringing in the right people, the right inspiration, the right ideas, and knowing the right time with which to do something, okay? Now, Mercury moves into your sign on the 8th of January, and then we have got a beautiful new moon in Capricorn on the 13th. So the time to kind of set out your store or decide on a new vision and sort of anchor it into place with the energies and the guidance of both Empress and Queen of Pentacles is going to be wonderful. Now, Venus rules Empress, and Venus is moving into Capricorn. She wants stability, she wants commitment, she wants that highest expression of love and valuing things, and this question of like, what do you hold sacred and how do you take care of those sacred things in your life is going to be front and center stage when we look at both the Queen of Pentacles and the Empress coming through. Now, for some of you, there might be a really strong influence through January of an earth sign, Capricorn, Taurus, or Virgo. And if you are dealing with someone in that instance, they are coming forth with quite a strong centered energy. Now, that could be very favorable for you if you are on a par and in harmony with what it is that you're trying to achieve in terms of a shared vision or where you want to go. If you are at odds with somebody, just be prepared that they are facing things kind of head on. And there is a little bit of a stubbornness aspect to the energy that I'm picking up in relationship to this as well. So, you know, you might need to come at things from a slightly different approach. And remember what I talked about, this idea of expanding and exploring and kind of giving yourself time to feel into things. Don't be too quick to discount, but at the same time, you know, don't be drawn into something if it doesn't feel right and it doesn't feel good to you. This is a time when we want you to be releasing resentment, not picking up more resentment because you feel like you're being backed into a corner with things, okay? That's just an important note that comes through. There is a sense of like strong clashes that come up, but at the same time, they're delivering these really miraculous breakthrough energies. So I think there's some really extraordinary things that can happen, which bodes really well for many of you in relation to, you know, what you are trying to learn, what you are trying to educate yourself with, or how you're wanting to share that information or set yourself in a position of being some sort of teacher, some sort of leader. And remember, that doesn't directly have to impact by way of, you know, this is my new vocation. It's just, you know, trying to show people a better way, a different way. So whether that's how you're showing up in the community, how you're trying to teach your children, your family, or people that you have connections in a relationship with, there is this sense of like real wisdom that's being imparted by all of the energies that are coming forth here. I also think that there are going to be people showing up for you. Again, Hierophant is earth energy. Very strong Taurus link here going on for some of you. And of course, Uranus is moving direct in Taurus, which is coming into your fourth house of home, of family, and really of the way that you are navigating that internal emotional landscape right now. But there is much to learn and there is much to teach through this month of January, I guess is what I would want to say. And just be aware that we want to give ourselves a lifeline. We want to give ourselves a bridge so that what we are releasing and letting go of doesn't get cleared out to the extent that, you know, we feel vulnerable and we feel like we've just cut a part of ourselves away that actually still had relevance and resonance, okay? Because this extreme energy of Jupiter squaring Uranus might lead us to believe that we need to absolutely start from scratch or get rid of absolutely everything in order to kind of accept the new energies coming in, but it isn't the case. You are, you know, a complex, layered, beautiful being that has many, many experiences, and even those that have not felt the most favorable or the easiest to deal with, sometimes we still hold on to because they have something of relevance that we'll tap into or we'll bring back down the line. So just be mindful of that and understand that everything that you have gone through can be honored and validated even when it has been really difficult, you know. So this earthy Taurian energy also wants to build something of substance in your life, and I think January is the beginning of that. Capricorn energy wants you to find the vibration that's gonna have a sense of permanence. And when I talk about this, how do I self-regulate and what do I do with this information, it's like maybe you don't have to do anything with this information other than to make sure that it isn't disrupting you or knocking you off center. Maybe that's what it is that you need to find through this, you know. The Four of Cups here has you sitting in a yogic position, but you can see that all of the chakras are highlighted here. So it is about how you come back into balance so that you can maintain this position of being able to help yourself and to help others, where that there is a rich, beautiful flow of abundance that constantly comes to you by way of ideas, inspiration, time, opportunities, connections. And, you know, you're just feeling like you are able to help other people. There is a very generous spirit that I feel coming through in this month of January for you, Aquarius. And that's wonderful. And I think that it's going to help support a lot of people. But just make sure you're also taking a check-in as to where it's coming from. If it's coming from a place because you're trying to avoid something that Spirit wants to shine a light on for you in your own soul journey, then you're going to end up having to face that again. And, you know, that anxiety that comes in sort of later in the month could disrupt your energy a little bit. So just make sure you're really secure in your home base first before you venture out to start to try to give the advice or kind of share your energy or share your wisdom. You know, there's something really important about just feeling centered within that for yourself, and just making sure that you don't, there's that sort of, I think, tendency through the month of January to feel I need to do something completely different and I need to do it now because I don't like this aspect of my life. And instead of trying to maybe understand what is at the root of that, which is actually going to help you to break free from it, you kind of end up on a wild goose chase of following something that is only really going to bring you back to the same feeling. I guess that's what I want to say, okay? So the sun moves into Aquarius on the 19th of the month. We also have a full moon coming in the sign of Leo at the end of the month in your 7th house of relationships. Queen of Wands here indicating a Leo energy, but also perhaps an Aries or a Sagittarius. Something again, there's so much beautiful female empowered energy coming in for January here. It's lovely. What I will say though is that you might find that there's two very different opposing approaches or ways of doing something, and you're having to kind of find the midpoint of that, which could be a little bit political, is what I want to say. So you might be stuck in the middle of two people, or you may well find yourself being one of those that is just coming up to a point of being at odds with someone else on the right approach. What I'm going to say is sometimes a little blend of both can actually deliver something quite unique and quite different and really wonderful. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it can't work just because you are feeling vastly different or you have very different visions about how something can be done. I think the Hierophant steps in here as almost like an arbitrator and someone who can find or help find that midpoint. But that sort of a vibe feels quite important. Now, you might come up against situations where there are a lot of strong energies that are stepping into a situation. Now, they may well be female energies, but not necessarily. It could, also be males, but they are expressing themselves in a very specific way. Now, they can come in by way of support, but they can also come in by way of trying to influence you. And if you haven't got your voice in a place where you feel strongly enough to be able to convey what your perspective is or what you feel or what ideas you have, I think it would be very easy to kind of get caught up in someone else's agenda. So just be mindful again that you're taking time that you need to center within yourself and know what's going to be right for you, okay? I do think though that you've got a tremendous burst of creative energy that's coming in that's really exceptional through this month of January. What you do with that and how that translates into some of the choices or some of the visions that you are going to be working on, I think is extraordinary. And please don't feel dismayed if that isn't your experience straight away, because it's like this energy is coming to you anyway. And even if you can't find the point of resonance with it in January, it's like you'll return to this, I promise you. It's almost like being gifted to you this month during your solar returns. And coming into this new energy of 2021, and it will start to formulate itself, and definitely as we come through the spring it will pick up more of a momentum and you'll get more of a sense of clarity with it. But I think for many of you, you'll be feeling it kind of coming in like a bolt of lightning, and it will actually give you a tremendous lift in your spirits, regardless of how you find yourself perhaps held back or restricted in some way. So Knight of Wands coming in, more fire energy here. And, you know, again, with that emphasis of the Leo moon, you know, there's a requirement for you to put yourself out there in some regard. You know, if you want to go for the things that matter to you, then there is that need to be seen, whether that's attracting a new relationship, it's about finding new work, it's about sharing an idea or a way of doing something, or being a part of an initiative or something in the community. There may well be a sense of having to relocate or move something. You know, this came up in the Capricorn reading as well, but I think it's pertinent here because with this extreme of the Jupiter-Uranus and kind of things happening really suddenly, there's a tendency that we could get really caught off guard. And so almost taking the beginning of the month to really make sure that things that are important to you are kind of locked in or secure, or as much as you can, kind of feeling like you have protected, you know, particularly with Mercury retrograde, protected your work, protected things that are valuable to you. I see that you may want to move something. You might want to move your money. You might want to move money in terms of different investments or different accounts. You might find the desire to want to shift to a different supplier with something. Or maybe, you know, if you have websites or a business, a new platform, you know, all of these things are sort of being highlighted to me. I also think that you've got people that are coming in that are extraordinarily enthusiastic and kind of really determined to want to get things going and to try to kind of get you involved and get you on board and get you a part of something. Just be aware that there's kind of a bit of a fanatical energy that comes in with that particular astrological alignment that we talked about. And so, you know, just make sure, again, like I said, that it feels good to you, that you feel this is representative of something you want to be a part of or how you feel. And if you do, that's fantastic. Go with it and take the energy of that and rise beautifully with it. If it doesn't, then just take the opportunity to perhaps refine and clear out and maybe consider where you might want to invest or direct your energy accordingly, because you have an awful lot to give through this month, Aquarius, and I think that the guys want to make sure it's going in the right direction and getting to the right people who actually need it. Okay, so we've got the Fool coming through. Yeah, I think the Knight of Wands and the Fool does sort of tap into the slightly reckless abandon with which this, you know, Uranus energy is going to be playing out through January. But you've got all this earthy energy that's kind of pinning it in place. And so in many regards, it's like a really beautiful combination to be working with. And it does give the opportunity for a fresh chapter, for a new beginning, and for you to feel into the idea of like what feels invigorating to you, what the new adventure you want to embark on might look like. And remember, it's the beginning, but the Fool is no fool, you know. He's very wise. He's already been around the block a few times, you know, and he might give the appearance of kind of feeling like he doesn't care, or he's unattached, or he's just living in his own little bubble. But in all understanding, you know, he knows everything, but yet he understands he also knows nothing. And so there's just like this really fine balance that you bring to situations where you're giving yourself permission to be the student and the teacher through this month of January, Aquarius. And I think that can serve you really well. But a new beginning is possible here. Just make sure that it's the right new beginning for you, is kind of what I want to say with it. Three of Pentacles, building meaningfully upon things through community, collaboration, connection. We can see this beautiful nest here with the eggs, and we have like turtles here. So there's also the suggestion that it's something really meaningful and sustainable. Back to what I said about this Taurus energy coming through really strongly for you this month, Aquarius. What you're working on, what you're thinking about, and how things are starting to show up for you, want to give that sense of you're in this for the long term. Now, of course, that's kind of nodding into your Saturn returns a little bit as well, sort of with the idea that you're going to be working with this energy until 2023. And so there's a bit of a knuckle down, like, let's get on with it. Let's get into this, because I know what I gain from this is going to be a really rich, beautiful experience, albeit one that, you know, is not always the easiest to navigate. But, you know, this Three of Pentacles, again, is helping you to build upon some of the ideas that you've got, come together with new initiatives, new projects, and a real sense of wanting to make impact, you know. I think there's great job opportunity and prospects on the horizon, but again, I think you're hearing the whispers of them. You're having really important conversations through this month of January, and you're putting yourself in a really strong position. So I do see that many of you are getting into that energy of understanding what your value is and really being able to highlight the best potential that you have, and people are really understanding and receiving that on a really great level. I think from a relationship perspective, there may well be the opportunity for you to take some time to either have that counseling or that kind of that real open hearted, like decidedly progressive, where do I really want to go with this, if this is something that I want to continue with. And again, I'm sort of feeling like the Hierophant and the Three of Pentacles almost indicate to me that somebody is helping to support the advancement of a connection or a relationship. So that might come in personally and professionally in some regards, okay? But great energies to be working with and to be building upon. Just make sure that you don't scatter your energy, or don't get involved in too many things so that you just end up feeling like really frazzled and burnt out and your nervous system gets really overloaded, yeah? Remember this statement, what do I do with this? So, you know, you might be finding that there's almost so many things coming at you that you're trying to make the right decisions and choices. Prince of Swords coming through here. And there is this beautiful opportunity for you to cut through something to see the clarity. Look at the way his sword is just wielding through the clouds here and seeing that beautiful, clear, open perspective. Now, we have to remember that Mercury is moving retrograde in your sign. So it's often an opportunity to reflect inwardly and to communicate and have a different narrative with ourselves, so that when we come back as it moves forward again, which will be 21st of February, that we are ready to express and to reveal and to kind of share the changes that we've come to as a result of that. But there may well be some tension that kind of is created as a result of that. The receiving of messages, news and information that kind of causes you to have to stop, again with that sense of overload. And remember, again, we talked at the start of your reading about this idea of needing to release the resentment and release the resistance. Okay, that's what's going to give you the opportunity to actually harness the creative ideas and be able to take that out into the world and do something meaningful with it, rather than stay stuck in a pattern with a particular situation or connection. So let's take a look at your oracle cards and see how they are reflecting what's coming in for you. Definitely messages coming in for some of you by way of these fire signs, though they are strongly showing up, or Taurian influence. Blossoming abundance, that's beautiful, isn't it? Okay, I certainly think with the Empress, with the Queen of Pentacles, Queen of Wands, I mean, it's like you're being given everything at your fingertips. It's like, what do you want to do with it? How do you want to work it? How do you want to harness it? And you don't need to have it all figured out straight away. This is the influx of a lot of this new 5D energy and how rich and vibrant and abundant it's going to feel. But that could also feel quite alien to you, you know? If you've been used to working in much lower, denser, heavier frequencies, then it's going to take a time for you to just come into union with that. And so be easy on yourself, okay? Okay, so the card is Gateway. I love that we have this beautiful unicorn here. We have really come through this new portal of energy. The sun is rising in the backdrop there. Again, it just feels like really utopian, doesn't it? Is it too good to be true? Maybe there's that aspect of you starting to feel into things, looking around you and thinking, well, I'm not seeing the evidence of that. In fact, quite the opposite. And yet your soul is telling you, this is where I'm heading. This is what's coming. What do you trust in? Do you trust in what you see with your physical eyes, or do you trust in what you know to be the magic of your soul? I think that's going to be something that at times you feel conflicted by, but at the same time will also be the thing that guides you and, you know, is the very thing that's going to allow you to keep expanding and exploring and trusting yourself, you know? Oh, 2 came out here. Okay, we'll take them both. Nothing is yet set in stone, mutable moon, and you and your loved ones are safe. New moon in Cancer. Beautiful. Lovely sense of protection that's coming in that you may well need to hear and receive at this point. And also understanding that the energies are absolutely churned up right now, and what might feel quite tumultuous and conflicted and difficult right now is passing through. It's an energy that's passing through. It's so changeable. So it's important not to get too attached to any specific outcome at the moment, or, you know, make a judgment on what you're seeing right now around you. Aquarius, this was a general reading for January, so I hope it has resonated. If you'd like to join me for the extended version of the reading, we'll speak for another 20 minutes or so. We're just going to go into a little bit more in depth in relation to your reading. I'm going to invite you to think about a question that I might not have asked in this main spread, and we will pull a couple of cards to explore that in the next session. And you can find the link for that in the description box underneath. Okay, so let's just clarify this main spread. So beginning with the Empress energy, we have the Hanged Man coming through. Okay, I've also got the 5 of Cups showing up. A little bit of a stop-start energy going on in this month of January. Princess of Cups coming in, more unlocking and awakening of beautiful gifts coming in, and also think some really sweet conversations that are coming your way. 9 of Cups, beautiful. Hierophant and the Hermit. Wow. Serious teachers coming in for you this month. You may well come into contact with some really powerful new gurus or spiritual advisors, or just people that really inspire you this month, Aquarius. 4 of Pentacles here. 8 of Pentacles. What does Capricorn energy teach us? Really, if it's worth having, it's worth working towards, fighting for, committing to. Self-mastery brings the blossoming abundance. Beautiful, really. Okay, Temperance coming in, Sagittarius energy. Another Hierophant here. Commitment coming in here. Queen of Cups. We just almost have all the queens now, just Queen of Swords that's missing, so maybe it's a water sign as well, Pisces, Scorpio, or Cancer. 8 of Swords. I just get this vibe of like really opposing energies, or different perspectives, different points of view. A little bit of stress. Remember I did talk about this anxiety that's surfacing. Okay, as a Tower. Perhaps just because of the suddenness to some of the changes coming in. But what does it bring? It's helping deliver just this beautiful new route to happiness. 10 of Cups. King of Swords here, Six of Coins, Chariot energy, okay, just going to pull one more. Okay, Aquarius, thank you so much. If you'd like to join me for the extended, I look forward to continuing this conversation with you. Otherwise, I wish you a beautiful month of January, and your solar returns coming in from the 19th. Take good care. Thanks for being here. Bye for now.